I know we're still going to have some people hopping in at the last few minutes, but I do want to welcome you all again. On the first slide right now is if you're new to Google Meet, it's pretty self-explanatory and easy to use. I want to mention on your far right is chat. What does that mean? That means you can put in anything in the chat. You know, if you've got a question, there's also where you can raise your hand. In terms of, you know, just if you have a quick question while we're in the middle of something, feel free to do that. You're also able to talk to us, so you can unmute and talk to us during this presentation. Ginger, next slide. All right, so you're here for our webinar. And what is this webinar about? Well, accessible textbooks plus engaged learners equals success. And how do we do that? Well, ReadSpeaker has a solution that helps with this. Ginger? So I am Kathy Wood, and you've got the Southern Girl team today. I'm in Georgia. I am the Education Partner Manager at ReadSpeaker, and Ginger Dewey is in South Carolina, and so is Clarence, actually. He's also helping us out today. Ginger is the Educational Development Manager here at ReadSpeaker. And so we're gonna talk about different things today, but again, I want this to be as interactive as possible. So please don't feel shy, and don't feel shy about asking questions. Ginger, next slide. All right, I've got a poll for you. This is a quick way for you to get involved. I'm going to ask you, which text-to-speech solution do you use at your institution? Is anybody seeing the poll? Yes, no, maybe so? Perfect, I'm seeing people vote. Okay, so we're kind of got a mixture of all of it. And what's funny is sometimes I see people say, text-to-speech, I'm really not sure if we do. And so, Ginger, move on to the next slide. So I'm seeing a lot of kind of different answers to that question. So let me tell you about ReadSpeaker, and I'm going to be quick about this. Our flagship product, Web Reader, that listen button up top is kind of our flagship. And what does that show us? That ReadSpeaker is as easy as clicking the listen button. We are a text-to-speech company. Jasmine, do you have a question?
Good.
We are a text-to-speech company that offers the best voices and provides accessibility tools. We are in over 1,500 institutions, and we do believe in that UDL model of helping everyone, not just a few. And you'll see that our products are easy to implement and use. And I think that's important to mention when we talk about ease of use, because if it's not easy to use, your students aren't going to use it. And, you know, Ginger, I don't know if you want to mention at this point anything about analytics.
Yes, we do have analytics on our TextAid and on our Web Reader and Doc Reader. We don't collect usernames, but we do collect access. So you know how much it is being used, which is something that sets us apart from other text-to-speech. In TextAid, we have to collect an email address because that's the way that we gather the information for the login. And because of that, if you needed to see if one particular student was using the tools in TextAid, then you would be able to see that. Kathy?
Thanks, Ginger. Next slide.
Hang on. I'm swapping between 3 screens.
So I saw in a couple of your responses that you don't use text-to-speech. So what are the benefits of text-to-speech? Well, again, I'm not going to read the slide to you, but when we talk about that reading comprehension and that recall, and even when we talk about disclosed learners versus undisclosed that needing accommodations, there are some students that have never been tested, especially at that higher education level. And so when we think about universal design for learning, and we think about providing tools for everyone and not just a few, there are students at your campus right now that need help and they need accommodations, but they aren't listed as needing accommodations. So why not provide a tool set that can help everyone? And when we talk about that, that can improve their self-esteem and motivation. And we can also help them stay at that peer level. Ginger? All right, I've got another poll. So this one is, and again, I can't see your view, but I've launched another poll, and it's what learning management system do you use at your institution? Do you use Blackboard? Do you use Canvas, D2L, Moodle, something else?
I'm seeing a lot of Canvas come up in chat.
Yeah. And what's interesting for you guys that are using Canvas, we just launched our new Doc Reader integration, which puts the Read Speaker certified integration in yet another place inside of that Canvas learning management system. And so that was a really cool new feature that we just released in the last month. All right, so I'm going to end that poll right quick. Ginger, you can move on.
Okay, one of the things that I want to talk about is just how easy it is to use. You have a listen button, you click on it, and it plays. Your settings, you pick them according to your device. For instance, I have one set of settings on my iPhone and a different set on my laptop, which I'm presenting from today. So this helps the student customize it to themselves. This also, because it's so easy to use, reduces some of the load on the disability or special education office and staff. And by that, we mean you're not having to teach them how to use a product because the tools are very intuitive. So that releases you to do more work, say, for a student that is totally blind and you've got to do templates for them for graphs or something like that. The students, because they handle all this on their own, their confidence and their independence, it just builds. We are compatible with many of the proctoring systems, and that's because we are embedded inside the LMS. And since we're inside the LMS, we're part of that page. Jessica, you raised your hand. Please go ahead and unmute and ask your question.
When you mean proctoring solutions, do you mean like just like Canvas, those apps, or also things like Lockdown Browser, which is another program?
A Lockdown Browser, HonorLock, ProctorU, Proctorio, Examity, and
yeah. So as Ginger is, insinuating is that we actually took on a project. Ginger and I did, and we reached out to a lot of different proctoring solutions and said, hey, can we test our solution in your environment? Because when you guys come to us and say, hey, we're signing a contract with Respondus, if we have Read Speaker with D2L, how is that going to work together? We want to be able to give you a good answer. And so if you ever just kind of want to see a demo of how those work, you can reach out to us and we'll be glad to show you kind of how that works. And I believe on our YouTube channel, we also have some videos showing Read Speaker working with several different proctoring solutions. So that's a great question.
Yes, it is. A lot of students that are ADD, ADHD, they tend to get distracted easily. I know I have one of each that I raised. They are now adult children, but they're still ADD and ADHD. And because of that, they both need movement right in front of them. So by having the words highlighted as you are going along, then that keeps them connected to the program and engaged with the material. And as we just said, we are in all the different LMSs. And here, okay, gotta find it. We have a video.
Read Speaker brings new voices to the table.
I'm Molly, and I am the voice of a young child.
I'm Kate, and I have a lady's voice.
I'm Lizzie, and I am a young child.
I'm Adam, and I am British.
I'm Jack, and I sound like Mick Dundee.
Okay, I
Read
hope you.
Speaker brings new voices.
Sorry about that. Always do that when I have a video. I end up clicking back into it, so I apologize. Were you able to hear the voices? All right. One of the things about us is not only do we have those voices, we have over 200 voices. And our voices are very human-like, relatable voices, and this is because we use voice talent. We take the voice talent, they record in a voice that they are fluent in, and it goes all the way up to delivering the voice. So let's say a word regionally is pronounced differently. I'm going to give the example my boss always gives, which is the word Charlotte, like Charlotte, North Carolina. He grew up in an area where there's a little parish that it's pronounced Charlotte. So we would have to change the pronunciation for that. We also have a college that is one of our clients that's right up on the US-Canadian border area, and they have a French president. Well, they had English as their language. So we had to change the way the president's name was so that it was pronounced correctly using the English voice. So we've done all those type things, and we can do that because we own the process. We, like I said a minute ago, 200 plus voices, 55 plus languages. And we have an African-American male voice coming out. That will be Marcus. And we're the most accurate on the market. And we're always working to improve everything that we're doing. So if you ever have any suggestions about something you want to see, always let us know. Kathy, we got another poll.
This is my last poll. And if you have ever been in a webinar with me, I love GIFs. I love these memes. So apologies, but I love them. So so my last question to you is, what pain points do your students have with digital textbooks? And it may not be listed on here, but I thought, is it books that are not located in the same place? Is it the lack of accessibility tools? Unable to create study notes or something else? So are there pain points when we think about with, these digital textbooks that we're sharing with our students? What are those pain points you're looking to solve? I'm seeing lack of accessibility tools, unable to create study notes. Okay. Waiting time from publishers. Yeah, I can imagine.
While all of this is coming in, I want to go back to a question that came in. Do you focus on scientific medical terminology in building the voice libraries? We have many nursing programs, so we automatically have added the voices, the pronunciations for the different medical terminology words that would be typical to a nursing program in our standard dictionary. If there is a word that we don't have, then we immediately will add it to your dictionary. As for scientific terminology, for the most part, yes, it's there. And again, if it's not there, we would be very quick to add it.
Yeah, Reed mentioned something, inaccessible materials could be a problem. Clifford mentioned content outside of Canvas. D, what about engineering and mathematics?
Engineering, yes. And the mathematics part we had, and then a lot of our LMSs started using another way to deliver MathML, which is putting it through a third program. So we are working on redelivering mathematics right now.
Yep. The custom, Michael, I think you mentioned something in the chat about custom dictionary institution, user, or device level. I believe it would be at the institution level. Michael, is that what you were referencing?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so Michael mentioned in the chat when we talk about the customization and owning the process of voices that we can actually, even when you have like an acronym, say you have UGA for University of Georgia, that anytime on your website UGA was shown, that we can have it customized to say University of Georgia. So those things can be customized at your institution, and these things are not a huge long drawn out process. And that's another good thing about us owning that kind of process and owning the voices. And I do want to mention before Ginger jumps into her demo of Read Speaker and Access Text, that Read Speaker provides free support for the life of the license. And free support isn't just submit a ticket, have a great day, you'll be, responded to in a week or time. No, that even includes professional development. So say you have a learning day that you have new staff members, or you want just kind of a refresher. We offer that as a free service. So those are things to think about too, because technology, sometimes it's hard for people to use technology and they just need to feel comfortable in something. And so what better way than to have, that personal demo. So again, that's something also we love to mention. Ginger?
I want to first address Erin's concerns about math being difficult. Erin, which LMS are you using?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
We use Canvas.
Okay, on Canvas, if you will right click on the formula on a page, it will then render. You can choose for it to be rendered in MathML. And at that point, Read Speaker can read it. Canvas renders everything that is MathML immediately as an image. So you've got to say, no, it's not an image, it's MathML. And I would be glad to show you that offline. All right, now let's get to the heart of things. Okay, there we go.
There we go.
You got your fulfillment email from Access Text. So what does that mean? And this is a mock-up of an email. And in it, the title of the book is Sparks from the Furnace by Carmichael. It's got a nice long ISBN number. We got a student number and we have a request number. And we're told don't reply to that email, right? Well, you know how to download your book, right? So once you've downloaded it, what do you do with it? So let's get excited. I get to do my fun part. Here is TextAid. And this book, let's say this was a spark from a furnace, but it's actually a study in Scarlet by Cohen. And this is what I consider the easy part. Once you have shared the book, the student will have the book in their library. And it'll appear under the Shared With Me tab. And here's the study in Scarlet. So you click on it and the book opens. And I'm going to make this screen just a little narrower so you can see everything. There we go. And you can pick what chapter you want to. Let's say we want this chapter. We've got ways to turn pages, go back, forward, page number. You've got your left and your right arrow, and I'll show you one more in a minute. But this takes up so much space, so let's close that off. And now let's listen to the last sentence of this paragraph.
Still, I recognize that justice must be done, and that the depravity of the victim was no condonement in the eyes of the law.
All right. I have chosen that I wanted a yellow sentence with a blue word. And that allows me to make the reading comfortable to me. So let's look at what I can do. I can change voices and I can set the speed. So if I am a second language learner, and I'll get to that in a moment, Elizabeth. If I'm a second language learner, I could slow this down just a little bit. If I am someone who is going into a medical or police or fire profession, anywhere where there's panicked and fast talking, I want to work toward listening at 200%, max it out. So we've got that. Our text itself, we can choose the background color, the text color, background color, our font size, and our font type. And we've got lots to select from. We do have the Open Dyslexic font, and we all know Open dyslexia is a learning disability, not a visual disability. And because it is a learning disability, some elementary schools are still using the Open Dyslexic font for all dyslexic students. And because of that, we want to give the student that option if they want to use it. I learned using reading Dick and Jane, and that's written in Arial. So Arial is my favorite. But you can see your sample here. For highlighting, I choose my word and sentence color, and I can choose an underline. And an underline is used with a student that is colorblind, and you use an underline. I suggest the underline for the sentence, and then pick any color for the word, because what a colorblind student is going to see is like a gray square or rectangle going across the word. They don't see the color itself, but they see something that's gray. And then you can choose your text color. And now let's look at reading area. Reading area, mouse selection is like what I just did. I highlighted a sentence and I had it read. But if I wanted a whole paragraph read, I would do text selection. Or maybe if I have low mobility, I want to use from the mouse pointer to the end of the page. That just lets me choose. Now, these settings are individual to the student. And I forgot to show you something down here. One more way to change pages. Yes, turn the page automatically. So we've got lots of ways to change pages. Now, let's talk about what tools we can use. With the tools, I first have settings. So I need to choose what color is this focus area. Well, I think I want pink, and I don't want it quite as faded out. So I'm going to move it back on my transparency. And I think I want light blue on the other part, and I want it to be a little bit, whoops, moved the wrong way. A little bit there. That makes me happy. Now, I personally like a green ruler, so I'm going to keep that, but I do want to darken it up some so that we can't read through it as easily. Now, let's look at those tools. A page mask. Here, I can make my mask larger or smaller. That's up to me, and I pull it down. I can totally black out that blue if I want to. Personally, I don't like to, simply because I want to keep up with how much more is on the page, just somewhat of a visual cue, but that's me personally. Each person selects this, remember. Now, another tool we have is a reading ruler. And with the reading ruler, that's just like the note card. Again, I can make it larger or smaller, and I pull it up and down on the page. Now, on both of these, you had a question mark, and that just tells you what to do to enable your keyboard commands. And I believe someone asked about that earlier. Do we have hotspots for things or hotkeys for it? Yes, and you get into keyboard commands by hitting the space bar. Now, once we have done that, let's look at what we can do with notes, because we know our students have to take notes. I'm using my highlighter, and I can choose a color and highlight a word. Let's say exertions is going to be a vocabulary word. And I think this sentence right here is going to be important for me. But I don't understand this part down here. And then if I use my arrow, I can say, this sentence right here, I don't know. So I'm going to mark it in yellow. So I marked in 4 colors. But if I'm colorblind, what does that mean? I can show borders. And now I have 4 borders for the colorblind student, which means dots is for green, dashes are for blue, yellow is an underline, and red is solid. So they have 4 colors. Well, it's all nice and fine if I have it on the book. But that means I got to leaf through each page, right? No, I can collect everything, or a current page. We tell students collect everything because it's held in the cookies and cache of their device. You can collect by color or position. and show or not show the borders. If you only want the vocabulary, which I marked in blue, I can collect with vocabulary, just the blue. I want everything. Now, here you can see I had something already highlighted in another place, and I am going to take off that first part, and I'm going to say notes from A Study in Scarlet. Now, right here, I could type in my definition, and when I type in stuff, I like to use either bold or italics. That way I know it was mine. So if I was writing a report, then I would be able to very quickly know, yes, this is what I was thinking about when I marked that, or this is something I want to use in the introduction or in the support or in the conclusion of my paper, and I know how to use it. It's marked as untitled text, so I need to save it. When I save it, notice it comes up with that title. It's got other stuff out beside it. And I decide what folder I'm going to put it in and click Save. Now it's saved, and on the title, it's saved. If I have a PDF, and I believe someone asked about PDFs, they asked the question, will it break it into chapters automatically? No, it will not break it into chapters automatically. You would still need to do that. And here is a PDF, and you notice I have another tool. I also have annotations here. And when I click on annotations, I've got a lot of cool tools. I have text, so if I wanted to add something, and I've got a spell check on it, I can listen to it, make it larger or smaller. I can, let's see, I want to draw a circle somewhere. I don't like blue. I think I want it to be teal, and I want it to be real thick, but I do want it to have a little bit less transparency. So I can play with all those things. It has something that's called a marker, and I want to show you what that marker does. This marker is not a highlighter. It is a colored box I can drag anywhere I want it on the page. So don't get mixed up about highlighter and marker. And as you can see, we've got lots of other tools that are really cool that you could use. Annotations are automatically saved. If you have an annotation and you want to get rid of it, click on it and click the garbage can. Now I'm going to leave that marker, and let's see. We can download to MP3 if we want to, and we've got a lot of other tools. Now, something that I want to show you very quick is proof listening. Now, we know students, when they're trying to write up their summary from something they had to read in their textbook, they might spell check it. So let's do that. And traveling's not spelled right. I think it's this first one, so let's listen.
Traveling.
Yep, so I'll substitute that in. Now, most students would say that's it. But let's listen.
This is demo form Ginger. She not traveling today.
You probably heard a little bit of errors there. This is a demo, and from, not form. She is not traveling today. So you've got two short, choppy sentences. They had some left out words and an unintentional words, but they're still choppy sentences. So maybe we could put the word and the word, make that she, take my space out, and now we have a compound sentence. Those are things you can correct with proof listening. And for the students who flatly can't type, don't want to type, or never learned how to type, we have a dictation service. Now, this is a non-trainable mic, so the clearer you talk, the better it is. Today is bright and sunny, period. My dog, Mary Kate, is running around in the backyard, period. She thinks it is fun to jump off the deck, comma, and run through the woods, comma, and have me chase her, exclamation point. Now, let me make this a little bit bigger. And I see that the front of my sentences, I did not have capitalized. Now, this chase should be a lowercase c. And right here, my dog, it's supposed to be Mary Kate. I didn't say her name very well. I didn't say the word comma, did I? And notice it didn't put it in. So I need to put in those commas. But here, I said the comma and it put it in there. So if I know the grammar, I can say the grammar and it does it. Now, when I hit insert text, you see it comes across in paragraph form. When you take a long breath, the recording will stop. So you just need to go back and continue on that line if you didn't finish your sentence. Otherwise, finish your sentence and then move to the next line so you can easily correct them. All right. As you can see, there's lots of things we can do here. And the question was, how do I share something? So I'm going to go in. Now I'm in my account and I go to my library and I pick what I want to share. And I have books right here. And A Study in Scarlet is a public domain book that I downloaded from Bookshare. And because it's public domain, I can then share it again. With Access Text, you can automatically share. So what I do is I click on Share Document. I set up dates and times if there is a limit on how long the student can have the book. Otherwise, I come down here to Add User and I start typing the name. And I'm going to share this with Donald Duck. And then I hit Save Settings. And Donald will have the book then in his library. It's that easy to share. How do I have an account linked to theirs? Okay, the way you get an account linked to a student is if you are listed as a coordinator or an administrator, you can then share books or share documents. And the way you make a person be a coordinator is you go to Manage Users. And right here, you see I am a coordinator. So I would click on this, my email address, and right there, it says Make Coordinator. So I would click Make Coordinator. And that makes that person a coordinator. Only the instructor or the DSS or special education instructor would be the ones that are the coordinators. Students aren't coordinators. Let's see. Did I get any other questions that I have missed?
I think you've been able to kind of keep up with them. And thank you, Michael, for including that video on that as well. Do we have any other questions or want to see any other part of things to do within Access Text when we talk about ReadSpeaker? Jessica, you have your hand raised. Go ahead.
So just like I said earlier, I'm kind of doing double duty right now, but is this solely web-based ReadSpeaker, or is this an app for like to download on like other platforms?
All right. TextAid is a cloud-based product. And then what you do with the program is it can stand alone, or it can be an LTI within any of our LMSs. So once you have it as an LTI, when the student clicks on TextAid from your environment, it suddenly sets up their account. If you're using it as a standalone program, then you would have to create the student's account. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, Jessica, were you meaning any particular platform, or were you kind of thinking
Well,
about a certain device?
a lot of our students use, laptops, iPads, phones. So I'm just seeing if it can be used everywhere, or if they have to open up a web browser to use it, kind of similar to Kurzweil. That was just all.
You do have to be within a browser. Okay.
Okay.
It does stand in that. I have a question for Melody about, can I show the dictate again? You have to be on what's called new text, and you have a microphone. When you click on the microphone, you'll have a recording area and a start button. So when you click start, you start talking your sentence. I am dictating a sentence, period. Click in and go to the next line. We still have a little time, comma. Does anyone have any questions? Question mark. Once I have dictated it, and I'll make this larger, whoops. We see that the I was capitalized because that is a proper pronoun, but we need to capitalize the W, and then I hit insert text and it comes across. Other questions?
Jeffrey, go ahead.
So we have, like I have an Access Text account that I request publications for students that have accommodations. So I'm a little confused. Maybe I missed it, but how, you're not saying that we can request something from Access Text and then put that inside of the Canvas LMS in a course to have the read aid for everybody in the course. I'm just trying to figure out how the connection is between the LMS and how we get the actual publication.
All right. You download your book like you normally would from Access Text.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Instead of then putting it up on your G drive or your OneDrive or putting it on a flash drive and giving it to your students, what you would do is you would go in your library and you would click upload document. Now, I'm going to upload a document. I have no idea what is on this document. Okay, I just found one, how to access ReadSpeaker. I choose what folder I want to put it in. I'll put it in Psych 101 and I click upload. Now, once that document is in my library, I can then share it with the student.
But one student at a time, the student
No.
that has the,
You can share it with all the students that have the accommodation that needs that book.
okay, so that book would be shared with the students with accommodations and would not be posted to the LMS
Correct.
for everyone in the class to see.
Correct.
Okay.
And with the share, each person's highlights and settings are individual to them and they can't see anyone else's.
Okay. Flip the question for me then. So if I have documents that I have permission to put in the course in Canvas, when the reader is use the LTI in Canvas, does that mean when any student, whether they have an accommodation or not, when they click on it, they can have the text read to them?
Correct.
Okay. Okay. That's important because we need a reader to be incorporated into Canvas to read all of those documents that we have permission to post, whether it's my schoolmate created the document or we have permission, copyright permission to post the chapter or whatever in there. So that is going to be a big help, because then the onus for if we're using it in Canvas, then all of our online students can use your product instead of having to go and pick through and get their own, right?
Right. This is
Okay.
this that I pulled up, and you said document, so I'm going to pull this up. It is a very old document, so please excuse that. Notice right here, I have a little speaker. When I click on this speaker, it opens into a new window, and I am now in my Doc Reader program. And I could go down here and highlight something and click listen, and I'm doing that on this one.
Easy to use listen commands make bimodal learning a great option.
And I'm doing that on this one because I've got images everywhere, so I would highlight my text. I could just click listen and let it play from the top down.
Okay.
Not only do we have that in Canvas, but let me go back to the home for the HTML. And this is true of all the LMSs, okay? Not just Canvas. This works the same in all of them. Let's say I want to read my conclusion down here. I can launch my player, move it wherever, and because I launched it earlier, I had this pop up, and then click listen.
As you have learned, ReadSpeaker is a text-to-speech tool that you can use in all your courses.
We have other tools where you pick your settings, you pick which voice you want. You can use enlarged text. And I'll just take a line here.
Did you know that by employing two
Now, as you can see, it loads up to a punctuation. I can make it larger if I want to.
or more senses, you will retain material longer? You will. If you use ReadSpeaker while you are in your course, you...
All right, I'm going to pull that back down because I'm almost to the end of it. But if I turn it off there, I do have to turn it off up here. We have text mode where you see it in plain text, or a page mask that you can use. When you are in this, you have all those tools we were talking about before with your highlighters, a reading ruler, a page mask, download to MP3, print, and choose your voice.
Okay. One other quick thing, I may have missed it at the beginning. Is ReadSpeaker a separate product from Access Text, or is it related?
It is a separate product.
Okay. Access Text is free. Is ReadSpeaker free?
No,
Okay.
I'm sorry. If there is a cost, it is typically based off of FTEs, and TextAid can be sold in bundles or as a site license, either way. Are there any restrictions for Canvas tests? All right, yes, there is. Let me go over here to my quiz. And
But Clifford does make a good point that Immersive Reader does not seem to read tests. So, you know, and Jeffrey, you did ask a valid question. Is this free? No, it's not. You know, we know that Immersive Reader is free, but we also know that Immersive Reader is not a holistic solution in terms of being able to read all of these different spaces. And so you're having to kind of plug in different products and solutions to fit all of these different needs. And so as Ginger's about to show you how to address the Canvas quizzes.
all right. When I launched my player, and you maybe did not notice this before, but I am missing two tools at the bottom of this. One of them is help, and the other one is download to MP3. We have that stripped off. And when I highlight, I do not have dictionary or translate showing up. So we automatically take those off your quizzes so that you have the integrity of the quiz. Now, if I want to listen to this question, I suggest highlighting the question and then clicking listen either from the pop-up or the button, simply because if I have more than one question on the page, it's going to immediately move to the next question and you don't have thought processing time. So I highlight.
What tool is in TextAid, but not in WebReader? Group of answer choices. Image to text. Listen. Page mask. Text mode.
And the answer there is image to text. So we can read classic quizzes very easily. If this was a new quiz, here is what I would have to do. I would have to use this extension, and I would highlight and click the listen button.
What
here.
tool is in TextAid, but not in WebReader?
Okay. Our extension is the only thing we can read the new quizzes with, and that's because new quizzes, they put an iframe inside an iframe, and we can only go one layer deep. So we can't get down to it so that we can actually read that. Steve, you have a question?
Yeah, I mean, it's not specific to the testing that you're showing right now, but I was just curious to find out, okay, like if we were to, purchase Read Speaker, is everything included with that, the TextAid and the Read Speaker within Canvas, or are they separate parts?
They are typically sold as WebReader and DocReader together, and then TextAid as an add-on. But if it's an add-on, I'm certain you can get a good discount on it. Clarence, Michael, would that be correct? They are in sales themselves.
Absolutely. We always, like Ginger alluded to, WebReader and DocReader sold together, and then sometime, we're flexible on pricing, add in the TextAid component to the bundle as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and I don't, the purpose of this webinar wasn't to be, salesy in that respect, but I do, I do see that we do have a lot of Kurzweil users on this webinar, and I will say that in when we go through these discussions with prospects or people that are looking at our solution, we tend to come out less expensive than Kurzweil. So it never hurts to look into pricing because I do believe, we all know how budgets can be clamped down. And, we do like to think that, we have a great product. So don't ever hesitate to ask those questions. It's easy, and we don't hound you. Once you ask those questions, we send you that information. If it's great, it's great. Not, it's not. So I do encourage you, at the end, if you do want to just see what that pricing model would be for your FTE at your institution, just let us know. Ginger?
And also, I would like to say that we believe in kicking the tires before you make any commitment. And with that, we give you a sandbox for you to play with your environment, your materials, not ours, yours. And that way you can see how well it works for them. When will you get a deal with Accuplacer so students can hear it read aloud? You can hear Accuplacer read aloud, everything but the math, and that's only because they did not make it accessible, using our Speak Up, which is a standalone product. It's a single license for a single computer, and it must be a Windows computer, but we can read Accuplacer. You have to use the accessibility profile so that it will allow a text-to-speech service on it. Going back up to Samantha's question, is there any way to have those answer choices identifiable for students with visual impairments? And that's going back to the quiz. If you have a student with visual impairments, you probably are not going to use the choices like what I did here. You would have A, B, C, D. I listed it just with radio buttons. So there are other choices for how to set up your choices with it. There's also, I believe, Roman numerals that you can use. That would work. But please understand, we are a web reader. We are not a screen reader. A screen reader reads all navigation. As a web reader, we're reading what is on the page, not the navigation of the page. I did want to show you, these are my statistics from here recently. And I can use the breakdown. And this is what you would be able to get from a singular user. And as you can see, I played a lot in the text editor here recently. I haven't used my extension very much and I haven't imported documents very much, but you can definitely see the usage that we have. Now, I wanted to go back to there was another one. There was another question. What was the other question? Oh, I know what it was. I'm going to go out to a web page, just any web page. I'll choose Access Text. And now I want to read this right here. Whoops. This down here. You see, I can highlight it. Well, when I launch my extension, and I can highlight and then launch my extension, or launch the extension and then highlight, and I can click listen, and it's going to play.
Members can request files and permissions from leading publishers with one simple form. All post-secondary institutions in the United States and Canada are eligible to join.
Okay, so it's able to read it. You can also OCR text on images, and that means that if you have, say, an anatomy drawing or a map and you need it read out what's written there, you can draw a little box around it and it will read it. You can set your speed. And let's say you have that Spanish class that needs to read a newspaper and write up what that newspaper is about. You could go to the Spanish newspaper, put it on Spanish here, and it would read the Spanish words to you.
All right.
Questions?
Ginger, you want to put up our contact information in case people want to reach out. And like I said, this it's been recorded, and so I'll send you a link to the recording probably tomorrow or the next day. But I do encourage you each to look at our webpage, which is readspeaker.com/education. There's actually a unique page from there for each LMS. So if you're a Canvas user, you can go to the Canvas page of Blackboard, D2L, and you can see different case studies. You can see videos of the tools in action. You can hear different voices if you want to. And again, we just really appreciate you guys joining, and I hope that this has been informative for you guys. But again, Ginger's email's up there, my email's up there. No question is too small. You know, this is the way we all learn, is to share this information. And I just really appreciate you guys attending, asking some great questions. And again, this is great. So we do appreciate it. We'll hang out for a few more minutes if anybody else has any questions. Free sandbox, 30-day sandbox you can reach out to us for. Again, all you have to do is say, hey, we use this LMS. We'd like to kind of test it out. We do it, no strings attached. If you need a personal demo, get your team together, ask us for a date. We'll get you up on the calendar for a personal demo. Just, you know, again, we're here to answer those questions. So again, thank you so much. And we're going to hang out just for a few more minutes. But you can feel free to drop as you're welcome, Christy. And again, thank you again, Clarence. Michael, thanks for helping out today.
Thank you, everyone.